Hey everyone, and welcome to AMC Mailbag, the all-mailbag show here on AMC Movie News, where all we do is take your questions. I'm Ashley Mova, and if you've got a question that you want answered on air, you can send it over anytime to amcmovietalk@gmail.com. You could get it answered on Mailbag or Movie Talk, and sitting with me to answer those questions right now is the editor-in-chief of AMC Movie News, John Kempia.
Happy Oscar weekend, everybody.
Oscar weekend.
The Oscars are tomorrow night, my favorite day of the year besides Christmas is, of course, Oscar season. And I haven't worn these in a while on Mailbag.
Oh, yeah?
For those who don't know, I get a lot of people email me and ask me about these glasses. I wore these all the time.
Do you wear glasses?
No, I don't. But I wore these when I would do Mailbag from Studio B, when it was just me. And what these are, people text me all the time. They ask me, what are those things? These are called gunners. And one of the best investments I ever made, because I have like these giant 27-inch monitors. I have like several of them that I sit around. And what these are actually made for gamers.
Okay. What do they do?
Well, what they do is they filter out what they supposedly do. Is they filter out a certain kind of light that comes off monitors that eventually give you eye fatigue and kind of give you headaches and stuff like that. And these help with that. And I'm telling you, somebody recommended them to me. I think when I got them, they were like $200, but I think you can get them for a lot cheaper now. And because that would happen when I was sitting in front of my monitors for a long time. And I got these, and I don't know if it's a placebo or what, but for me it worked. And then every once in a while when I got a headache or whatever and I'm going to be sitting in front of bright lights, I wear these too, and they help me. So you can find them on Amazon or something like that.
You should be the new spokesperson.
I know I should get a cut. I should totally get a cut. But I swear by these. These are really great. You should check them out.
Sean Murphy writes, greetings and salutations from Ireland. My question is concerning trailer announcements. Why do film companies have to announce trailers? Does an announcement really make the difference on how many people see it? Thanks and keep up the great work.
Well, nobody has to announce trailers. I mean, they don't have to say, coming this Thursday is blah, blah, blah. It all depends on whether it serves it or not. Look, when you got Star Wars, for example, and people are chomping at the bit, they're so excited for it. By announcing that trailer even further, by announcing the trailer, you can add to that swell of momentum. You can add to that swell of excitement and anticipation for the release of the trailer. And so that's kind of like free buzz that you're getting. Now, that doesn't work for every movie. I mean, if you've got a movie coming out that, for instance, isn't a sequel or isn't part of a franchise or isn't a popular, already well-known thing, then saying, hey, next Thursday, the new trailer of Happy's Girl is dropping. Well, nobody
Can't wait to see that, actually.
Right. Well, yeah, I know. Well, you and me, but we're the only ones. So people are excited. You know, there just isn't that pre-existing group of people who are anxiously awaiting the trailer for Happy Girl. The trailer needs to come and get people excited. But with something like Star Wars, with something like the new Avengers, with something like a new Spider-Man that's going to come out, those are things where marketing departments and PR people can take advantage of the pre-existing excitement for it and then snowball it. And so I will disagree with Sean, who says, you know, it doesn't mean more people watch the trailer. I actually think it does. I think it does add to that. But it's not about getting more people to see the trailer. It's about creating free buzz. And when you got a property like that and you can just announce the trailer, that's free pop, as they call it in the business.
Right. So would you say that this only works for kind of a bigger film, or could some way a smaller film with lesser known people in it use that to their advantage in any way?
I don't think so. Yeah. I mean, look, it's possible, but let's go back to, I don't know, what was it called? Happy's Girl.
Happy's Girl, yeah.
Totally made up movie. Okay, Happy's Girl, starring a bunch of actors that none of us have ever heard of, whatever. None of that means the movie isn't going to be awesome. Popular actors doesn't mean the movie's going to be good or bad. But you can announce that a trailer for Happy Girl is going to drop next Thursday. But since there isn't a pre-existing excitement for it, it's not going to get you anything. Just put the trailer out, hope as many people see it as possible, and then hope that trailer generates excitement. And then if you get the world's biggest trailer, well, then maybe you can say 2 months after that, the next trailer of Happy's Girl is, but normally it's reserved for pre-existing franchises, pre-existing film series, where there's already a pre-existing set of anticipation for it.
Happy's Girl coming to
Happy's
theater
Girl
near
coming
you.
to you, brought to you by AMC Theaters.
David Lake writes, is Ryan Reynolds' face going to be in Deadpool, or will Deadpool just be the mask and voice like in DREDD? Also, are the events of Wolverine Origins going to be Deadpool canon? If I have only one guess, I would say Flashbacks, yo, in Schnepp voice. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Will we see? I gotta imagine we're gonna see Ryan Reynolds' face, because if for nothing else, one of the very, very few redeemable things about that Wolverine Origins movie was Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. I mean, prior to having I still don't understand how you take a character known as the Merc with a mouth and then take out his mouth. I want to see a documentary someday about the decision-making process that went on with these brain farts at Fox. And they're doing great now. Fox is doing, but at the time that you know what would be a great idea? Let's surgically take out the Merc with a mouth's mouth. I mean, I'll never understand that. But at any rate, but before that happened, he was great. And so it depends on if they're doing an origin story with him or not. I have a feeling they are going to do an origin story. Now, as far as whether the events of X-Men Wolverine are going to be canon, if I'm not mistaken, and I believe I'm right about this, the timeline was changed early enough in X-Men Days of Future Past that everything that happens after that is gone. Everything that happened in X-Men Origins is gone, other than, what happened to Wolverine when he was a child, because that predates X-Men Days of Future Past. But, I mean, what was it, the late 60s, Dennis, that X-Men Days of Future Past happened? Or Jonathan?
No, 70s.
It was 70s, early 70s? Okay, but I believe all the stuff that happened in Wolverine Origins with Deadpool happens after that. Therefore, it doesn't exist. It doesn't actually happen. So, no, the events of X-Men Wolverine Origin, other than the opening scene showing Wolverine as a child, none of that is canon. That's all gone. So you're not going to see any reference to that.
Do you think that them showing Deadpool's face could kind of take away from the character? I know for me personally, I love when like no-name actors get cast in horror movies just because you can like completely dive into the character and not get so caught up on who the name is playing that character. And I feel like a lot of people would focus, oh my gosh, that's Ryan Reynolds, and not so much on Deadpool. Do you think it would take away from him as a character?
I think the possibility of that exists if it wasn't for the fact that I think most people thought Ryan Reynolds did a great job as Deadpool in that movie. So that when an actor, no matter how famous, really owns a character, you kind of get lost in it. So, and let's not forget, I mean, Deadpool's supposed to be completely mutilated. His face is supposed to be off. So that's why I think we're going to an origin story. I think we're going to see him. I think we're going to see Wade before he gets all disfigured and everything. And then we're going to see him after. And once he becomes Deadpool, then I don't think we're going to see much of his face. I think they'll show it once in a while for effect. But I still think they're going to show it to us at some point, if for nothing else, dramatic effect and things like that. But once he becomes Deadpool, I think the majority of the movie from that point on will be with the mask.
All right, makes sense. Jessica Perkins writes, "Hi AMC Movie crew, congratulations on all the upcoming Phase 3 plans. Speaking of which, I am a film major, and I was wondering if you guys ever take on interns. And while we're at it, I was wondering what John looks for in potential new staff. Keep up the great work."
Okay, so to the first question, do we ever take interns? No. Is that a rule? No, it's not a rule. But I mean, I don't even know what it means to have an intern. I don't even know what that means. But I know there are some people who take on interns as basically just free slave labor.
Yeah.
And there are rules and laws about that I don't even want to get close to violating or breaking, I'm very sensitive about that type of stuff. But would I consider interns? I maybe, like, we're moving into our own new studio. For those of you who missed the announcement, we're moving into our very first AMC Movie News headquarters. Woo. Awesome 5,000 square foot facility. It's going to be incredible. And maybe at some point, Dennis is going to come to me and say, "Hey, John, I'm looking for some of them free
Starbucks runners,
free labor, Starbucks runners." No, I mean, so I would want to talk probably to one of the universities or one of the schools, stuff like that. Find out what is it that makes a good internship for somebody, that makes sure they get something out of it and is good for them, and make sure they're doing it for school credit and things like that. But since we have not had anywhere near the time to investigate and look into that sort of stuff, then no, we're good. We're good right now.
That'd be pretty cool, though.
It would be cool, but not because we need the help, but because it would be cool I think, to give students.
Right, because you get credit in school. You do get credit.
Yeah, and give them that type of experience and opportunity, because I will shape the future generation. But I think it would be cool to be able to pass on that type of experience that we get to have here every day. And so if we can figure it out, maybe at some point in the future we will. As far as what I look for in staff people, for me personally, whenever we're hiring, I always bring in, Dennis and Amy Rose always have a say in when we hire somebody and whatever. But what I personally look for is the two key things are, number one, great film knowledge. But great film knowledge doesn't get you anywhere. Great film knowledge is great for writing a blog. It doesn't. It helps, but it's not enough to have great film knowledge when you're doing something on camera. You also have to be an effective communicator. And so I look for people who have good film knowledge, have a passion for movies, like really love movies, and have the ability, when you're talking to them or doing it on camera, to effectively communicate their thoughts and their process. I don't look for people who I agree with, and I don't look for people who agree with me. I look for people who are effective at communicating their point of view. That's one of the reasons why I was a big fan of Roger Ebert. And why he probably, to this day, was my favorite film critic. I disagreed with Roger Ebert at least 50% of the time. But that dude, I think people overlook how great of a communicator he was. Even if you disagreed with what he was saying, he was so great at communicating why he felt that way. And to me, that's what's important, and that's what's valuable. That's what challenges my thinking when stuff like that. So, passion for film, depth of knowledge of film, and of course, an ability to communicate well. So that's what I look for.
Maybe we'll have some interns
Dennis,
soon.
what do you look for? He doesn't have a mic.
I look for everything.
He looks for everything. You must
do and know everything.
You have to do and know everything, and know where the closest Starbucks is. Okay, what's next?
Jameson Plaken writes, "Hi, I recently just watched Big Hero 6 and saw How to Train Your Dragon 2 when it came out last year. After watching both films, I don't get why Lego Movie was not nominated. Although I liked both films, I thought Lego Movie was way better and such a special film. Do you think every time Disney comes out with an animated film, it's just going to get nominated no matter what? And is that fair?"
No, I don't think that's true at all. I mean, we've seen examples where that's not true. There are people on the AMC Movie News staff. Like, for me personally, the Lego Movie was my favorite animated film of the year.
Totally.
That's me personally. But there are people on the AMC Movie News team that they actually, How to Train Your Dragon 2, like Christian Harloff is one of them, thought How to Train Your Dragon 2 was the best animated film of the year. And it should be pointed out that, when the Oscar nominees were announced, I was as shocked as anybody that the Lego Movie didn't get nominated, because I didn't only think it should get nominated, I thought it was a front runner to win. That being said, a few weeks later, a month later, the Annie Awards come out, which is the animation awards, right? And the Annie Awards come out, and How to Train Your Dragon 2 won Best Picture there. So the animation industry gave it to How to Train Your Dragon 2 as well. So that tempered my outrage that Lego Movie wasn't. I still believe it should have been nominated, but I'm not so. I've been convinced otherwise, because How to Train Your Dragon 2 was an awesome movie. I love that movie. And so I have no complaints about How to Train Your Dragon. Box Trolls, fact checker John, Box Trolls did get a nomination for Best Animated Picture. Right. I was very happy for Box Trolls, because I thought that was an underrated film and an unappreciated film that was much better than I thought it was going to be. I think it was that studio's best film, as a matter of fact. And then, of course, there was Big Hero 6, which I thought was wonderful. But yeah, no complaints from me about How to Train Your Dragon or the comparison of Lego and How to Train Your Dragon. But I am still shocked that it didn't at least get a nomination.
Yeah, I was really shocked too. And I think a lot of people, there's like so much talk about this on the internet about how people are so shocked that Lego Movie didn't get a nomination. Do you think that the Academy ever kind of regrets their choices about who is nominated?
I think so. Here's the funny thing about the Academy, though, is that, remember, the Academy is made up of so many voters, right? So many people that I'm sure there's a lot of times that people feel like they can just vote with their heart. They can just vote with their heart and it'll balance out. I'll vote with my heart, but it'll balance out, because, okay, maybe 12 Years a Slave should win Best Picture, and the votes are going to go that way. So I'm going to vote with my heart and go with this other film, right?
Right.
And then the nominations get announced. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. The Lego Movie didn't even get nominated?
It's like choosing the president, basically.
Yeah, maybe I should get my vote back. I mean, I don't know. But maybe, I'm sure that happens.
Right.
I'm absolutely sure. But But that's one of the great things about the Academy Awards, and that it's run by people, and people are flawed, and we make mistakes. But one of the reasons I love the Academy Awards, even like far more credible than all the other award system, is the sheer number of voters.
Right.
So it's not like the Hollywood Foreign Press with the Golden the Golden Globes, where it's like, 70 people. All you got to do with 70 people, with 70 voters, fly 30 of them to Vegas for a weekend. There. Now you've got enough of a vote sway to get it. Oh, the Academy has 7,000 voting members? Not so easy. And that's why I give a lot more weight to that.
Timothy Noyes writes, "Hi gang, recently John said on a show, there's a reason why at the Academy Awards, when a movie wins Best Picture, the people who go up to accept the award are the producers. It's their film. However, if a movie is considered bad, the director is often blamed. Surely if the producers are responsible for a film being good, even winning an Oscar, surely they are also responsible for it being bad. Should the director or the producers get all the blame/praise, or should it be shared? What are your thoughts? So excited for Phase 3.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and look, I want to be careful how I explain this because it can seem contradictory. On the one hand, I always say the buck stops here person on any film is the director. They're the one in the chair. They're the ones who are overseeing the steering and the running of that ship once it gets into production. But, as you pointed out, it's the producer's movie. Or in some cases, the studios, whatever. But it's the producer's movie. The producer's the one who gets the ball rolling, who brings on that director, who decides on the direction of the film and all that kind of stuff. And then they put it into the hands of the director to execute what their vision was and to execute what they wanted to do. So, I completely believe that the person most responsible for how great a film is the director. I still believe that. It starts with the script, for all the screenwriters who are getting mad at me right there. It absolutely starts with the script. But I believe by the end of the day, but we've all seen it. There have been great scripts turned into bad movies. So while it starts with a great script, the person singularly most responsible for how good or bad a movie turns out, I believe, is the director. That's just the way it goes. Some people like to complain about what happens when a studio interferes. Guess what? Studios interfere on every movie, pretty much. There are exceptions, obviously, because it's their movie. It's their film. I mean, just even look at Star Wars. I mean, Star Wars got influenced as well. So it is the producer's movie, and that's why, rightfully so, they get awarded the Academy Award for Best Picture, because they're the one who brought on the director in the first place. But I still believe, even though that's the case, I believe the person most responsible for the quality of a film and the one who should get the most praise and the one who should get the most blame is the director.
How much of that do you think goes to the actor? Because then, the director is guiding them to act a certain way. They make their own choices, but directors are kind of swaying you in a certain, and they got cast by a casting director. How much do you think of the good and the bad goes to the actors?
Not a lot. I think, look, a great performance definitely adds to a film. A bad performance definitely takes away. But once again, and I talk about this all the time, is that there is no actor who just went up there and did their job. And when you do have an actor who's in control of a set, I guarantee you're going to have a bad movie. But it's a collaboration between the actor and the director. It's the responsibility of the director to get that performance out of the actor, to make sure that it's communicated right to the actor to know what the director's vision is. Because remember, the actor just knows their character for the most part. It's the director who sits back and has the vision for the whole film and understands how all the pieces fit together in their narrative, right? So they got to be able to effectively communicate and work with and coax that performance out of the actor. And then the actor needs to have that skill and that talent and that mindset to be able to interpret what it is the director's wanting out of them and then manifest that into the character that they're looking for. And when you get a great director with a great actor who have great chemistry together, then you get a Scorsese and De Niro.
Yeah.
Then you get a Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio. Then you get these great combinations that we've seen because you get a director who just really knows how to get a great performance out of an actor. And that's always an exciting thing to see.
Yeah, very much. Louis Lorg writes, "Hey everyone, with Spider-Man in the Marvel Universe, that seems to open the door for many new possibilities, not just with Marvel, but with Sony as well. My question is, with a shared universe, could there ever be a chance for one-off stories that have nothing to do with the shared universe? Example, a Miles Morales or just a Planet Hulk, or if they made a deal, Old Man Logan would be a great one-off. What are your thoughts?"
I believe if I was in charge of DC or Marvel, and everybody should thank heavens that I'm not, I would still have one-off stories on the table. I would say bring us a great one-off idea, a great Elseworld idea, Bring us one of those and it will be considered. I would not say the door is closed, but it would have to be great. It would have to be a great idea that would have broad market appeal and have a high chance of big box office returns. I simply don't think a Miles Morales does that. People think Spider-Man. If, like, we said this on Movie Talk the other day, we're at the AMC Burbank 16 right now. If we went and stood outside and canvassed people as they were all coming out of the theaters, and we canvassed 1,000 people and said, hey, who's Spider-Man?
Yeah.
I don't think I'm exaggerating if I say 998 of them will say Peter Parker. Or if I ask them, do you know in the comic book world who Miles Morales is? Because remember, us comic book people, we think because we know who these people are that the general public don't know. And they're 99%. So I bet if we asked outside, all the people coming out, do you know who Miles Morales is? I think 997 of them are going to say no. They don't even know who he is. And so that would be, remember I said if I was head of a studio, I'd say, hey, bring it to me. It's got to be great. It's got to have the potential for high commercial return, blah, blah. Well, there goes that. Because people think Spider-Man, they think that. That doesn't mean you can't introduce a Miles Morales somehow, some way into the ongoing Spider-Man universe, but that's a separate question. We're talking about one-offs. But an Old Man Logan, as long as you get Hugh Jackman in there, then it covers all the bases. That could be a great movie. And it has the potential, because it's Hugh Jackman, has the potential to have high box office return as well. World War Hulk, that has all those things there too. That has those potentials. So yeah, do I think they're going to do one-offs though? I don't think they will. I think they're so invested in the shared universe stuff that they're doing, and there's nothing wrong with that. So if I was in charge, I would definitely consider them, but I don't think Marvel or DC is considering it, even though I think it would be kind of cool for them to do so. But who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Maybe it'll happen.
I was reading, because he asked about Miles Morales, I was reading up on him, and it was a kind of an interesting story, but to me, like you were saying, Spider-Man, that's not the Spider-Man I know. After about 5 or 6 years, do you think that he could become the new Spider-Man?
I don't think so, but who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely anything is possible.
Yeah.
But if you're going to ask me if I had to put money on it right now, I would say my money would say no.
Right. Rashad Hardrick writes, hey, AMC Movie crew. First of all, I just want to thank John, Amy Rose, Schnepp, and Dennis for coming to Atlanta. It was so awesome meeting you all. Hopefully Christian, Mark, Miri, Alicia, and Ashley can make it on the next trip. I just wanted to know if you ever go into a movie for the first time already hating it, or do you keep an open mind even if it's a movie that you're not really excited about? I was not a fan of the 50 Shades of Grey book, but I was still very excited about the movie, and I really enjoyed it. I know many of you weren't necessarily excited about 50 Shades, but did you go into the movie already disliking it, or did you keep an open mind?
Here's the thing. Look, everybody has an opinion, a predictive opinion. This is the difference, right? Because I say, man, that movie looks terrible. And then somebody said to me, keep an open mind. I didn't say the movie is terrible. I said it looks terrible. And it does look terrible. But that's a predictive statement, right? That's kind of feeling like, I feel like this is going to be a bad movie. But what you got to do, I've said this all the time. What you got to do as a film fan, though, is you have to if you're going to go and see the movie anyway, which, if you're not in this industry, I don't know why you're going to movies you think look bad, but whatever. We have to do that. But if you're a film fan and you're going into a movie that you think looks bad, what you got to be able to do for your own enjoyment, you got to take those expectations, because we all have expectations. All of us do, good or bad. You've got to be willing to take those expectations and leave them at the door, and then just go in and judge the movie not on the trailers you saw once you're in the theater. Don't judge it on the trailers you saw. Don't judge it on who you heard was cast or who you thought should have been cast. Don't judge it on the rumors you read on the internet. Don't judge it on any of that. Once you get to the movie and you walk through that door, take all those expectations, all those preconceived ideas, and leave them at the door. Then go in, sit down, and then judge the movie on its own merits. And some of the really most fun times at the movie theaters are when you get to come out pleasantly surprised. Like for me, one of the big movies for me that really happened with last year was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Look, was that movie great? No, wasn't a great movie. But my expectations were so low. I thought that movie was going to be a dust cloud of steaming crap. Like I thought it was going to be beyond horrible. But I went, I left those expectations at the door, went in, sat down, and then by the time I walked out, I had been mildly entertained. So much so that I actually went back to watch it again, saying, wait a minute, am I just deluding myself? And I actually went back and I watched it again in theater. And those are really great times when you get to catch those movies that you thought were going to be bad and you enjoyed them. And you will rob yourself of those experiences if you bring that baggage into the theater with you. There's nothing wrong with saying you think a movie looks terrible. There's nothing wrong with saying, I think this movie's going to be awful. Nothing wrong with that. Just if you do go, leave that baggage at the door and don't bring it in with you, and you might end up being pleasantly surprised.
Did you see 50 Shades of Grey?
I did not, because
you didn't?
No, we had I had to miss my press screenings because we were in Atlanta. And then literally the moment I got back from Atlanta, I then got back on a plane and flew to Vegas. And because me and my wife desperately needed some time together because everything's been so crazy. You could have seen 50
Shades of Grey
and
together.
We were going to go see 50 Shades of Grey at the AMC Theater in Vegas, but we both heard so many good things about Kingsman that we decided, you know what? No, we're going to go see Kingsman. And I'm really glad we saw Kingsman. So I have still yet to see 50 Shades of Grey.
I can't wait to hear what you think about it.
I can't wait to see it. I'm excited.
Jonas Woods writes, Hola, AMC crew. After watching one of my favorite guilty pleasure movies known as Mortal Kombat, I started to think about how video game movies are about to be brought into the spotlight, like comic book movies with films like Assassin's Creed, Ratchet and Clank, Sly Cooper, Minecraft, etc., etc. Will Mortal Kombat ever finally make its return to the big screen? I know that Kevin Tancharin was attached to direct it first, but dropped out, and that seemed to be the nail in the coffin for the MK reboot. Would you like to see another MK movie?
It depends. Look, the first Mortal Kombat movie is one of those wonderful movies that is just awful. And I love watching it every time I get the opportunity to watch it. I love watching that movie. But I have to acknowledge it's pretty darn awful, but I love watching that movie. And the second one was just bad. I mean, the second one, there was not much enjoyable about it whatsoever. I'm also one of those people that I was a little bit late to the party for the Mortal Kombat Online series that they put out. And so I heard everybody hooting and hollering about how great it was. And this is a great example of the negative effects of advanced positive hype. Because, I was talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like expecting total crap, was pleasantly surprised. I was expecting something really great, and I watched it, and I was like, this feels like a high school film project to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean that to be cruel, but I watched it and I was like, it's better than I could have done, but I'm not exactly the standard of excellence now, am I? And I wasn't impressed by it. I didn't enjoy watching it. But does that mean I don't want to see another Mortal Kombat movie? No, I'd still want to see another Mortal Kombat. Yeah. I'm still on board. Will it happen? Look, it's such a big brand name. Who cares about whether you like the second one or the first one? It's just such a monstrous brand name, even today still, that I have to believe in an environment where studios are desperately looking for franchises, that someone's going to pick up that ball and take a swing at it. I just have to believe it's going to happen at some point. I mean, I haven't heard of anything. It's very possible that it's dead and gone, but I can't shake the belief that somebody's going to pick this up at some point. Maybe not in the next 2 years, but at some point.
Fingers crossed. I used to love Mortal Kombat as a kid. I had a dance routine to the theme song.
I'm sorry, really?
Yeah, I'm so serious. And I was in karate at the time, so I would wear my karate outfit as if like
Okay. Here's the thing. I'm going to call this right now. I shouldn't do this, but so the next fundraiser we do.
Oh God.
The next charity fundraiser we do.
I already hate this.
You have to set a limit. I like this idea.
Okay.
You have to say, whatever our charity or our cause is, you have to say like, okay, if we raise $10,000, I will record myself doing my Mortal Kombat dance and we will play it on our live show.
Deal.
That's for a good
I'm serious.
cause. That's
all
awesome.
the other girls have to do it with me though.
And I'm positive we can get. I would love to see Amy Rose and Alicia doing that. That would be pretty sweet.
So would I. All right, guys.
Maybe I can get Dennis to do it too. Me, Dennis, Jonathan.
It's a good cause, guys. Come on. All right, guys. That's all the time we have for today. Thanks so much for joining us. And just a reminder, lots of great movies being shown in AMC theaters today. So go ahead and head on over to www.amctheaters.com for all of your theaters, showtimes, and ticket information. And if you want a podcast version of this episode, check out the description box below, and that will give you a link to our podcast. Thanks to the guys in the room, Dennis and Jonathan, and thanks to this guy, John Campia. John, where can people find